Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a review on the Face Shop X Coca-Cola Mono Pop Eyes Coke Red palette. This was something that was in my anti-haul and I really wanted to get it, but I couldn't justify getting it, but I really wanted to get it. So in the end, I just got it. So this is what the palette itself looks like. So this is what the outer boxing looks like. So it comes in a cardboard box and it has red accents. Now the red accent feels it doesn't feel like the cardboard. It feels almost a little bit plasticky, but it's not. I don't know, they probably put some kind of coating on the parts where they've done the red accents, I don't know. And the Coca-Cola at the side, it is imprinted, so you can feel where it says Coca-Cola. On the front it has a picture of the palette, and as you can see it is shiny. So again, it looks like there was some kind of shiny coating that they put on this picture here. It has all of the colors depicted at the top as well. And then on the back it has probably like ingredient information written in Korean, but it does say in English, create endless eye looks with this eyeshadow palette featuring 9 shades. This eyeshadow palette features from subtle eye shades to vivid eye shades to create variety of looks every day. And the directions: apply eyeshadow using fingers or with an applicator tip. So when I think when they say an applicator tip, you know, like those sponge tip applicators, I think that's what they're talking about. But I don't really deal with those things. Even though they do work, they can really be used to pack on pigment, but I just prefer to use brushes, as you will see in my tutorial tomorrow. So the palette itself, this is what it looks like, as I've shown you before. And on the back, it has, again, information in Korean, but it does say that each shade is 0.6 grams, which is 0.02 ounces, but the net weight is 5.4 grams, which is 0.19 ounces. That's for those of you who are interested in how much product and how much it weighs and whatnot. You guys know that I'm not really too fussed about that, but obviously I'll mention that stuff for those of you who are interested in that information. So I managed to get this on eBay for about 12 or 13 pounds. I made sure that they weren't being sold on DHgate or AliExpress, because then that heightens the chance of me getting a fake, and they weren't selling any on there, so they weren't replicating these palettes. When I was doing research on this palette, I found that the Face Shop also had some Marvel palettes. They had one which was red and they had one which was blue. The red one looked very, very similar to this palette. Like the shadows looked very, very similar. So I'll put up a picture of the red Marvel palette, so you can compare it to this one, and you can see that the shadows are quite similar. So I was just kind of like, do they just recycle shadows? Like, do they just, like, they have their favorites? Is it kind of like the Too Faced of the Asian makeup industry, where they just use very, very similar shadows over and over and over again? Is that what that is? That's the vibe that I got straight away. But I absolutely loved these shadows, and in my anti-haul I did say these are the kind of shadows that I like to go for. This is my kind of palette, but because I already have so many of these shadows already, it was just kind of like, what is the point in me getting it? But once I realized that it was only going to be about 12-13 pounds, I said, you know what, I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna get it. It took about a week to get here. If I can remember correctly, they sent it via tracked mail, so like via express mail. So I got it quite quickly. They wrapped it up really, really well in bubble wrap. I always ask any seller to please make sure that my item is wrapped well in bubble wrap, so that when it is being transported by the post people, the courier, you know, I know that some of these people can be really, really rough with packages, so to try and lower the chance of the item becoming broken, like, please just wrap it in bubble wrap as much as you can, like, please. And they were really, really generous with the bubble wrap, so I was happy about that. And it came really quickly. It came directly from Korea. So when I opened this, it smelled like, now it just smells like makeup, but before it kind of smelled like it was trying to be Coca-Cola but not quite. So I think that smell has probably dissipated since. So I'm gonna do some swatches of the shadows. Oh, by the way, these shadows don't have any names, and that doesn't bother me. I know that there are some people who like to have names on their shadows, but for me it's just not a big deal at all. It doesn't have to have a name, because I'm not kind of like, oh, I'm using cherry today, or I'm using stone, or what. Like it just doesn't matter to me at all. So I'm gonna do some swatches of this palette. So these are all of the shadows, and when I first swatched them, you can see that some of them look like they're a hit or miss. Well, some of them look like they're a little bit of a hit, and some of them look like they're a little bit of a miss. One that I was really disappointed when I first swatched was that red at the top, because it looks so red and vibrant in the pan, but the swatch itself is just not as vibrant, it's not as pigmented with the swatch. Oh, so automatically I was kind of like, oh my gosh, is this a dud? Like, ugh, what's going on, kind of thing. So what I found, like, as you can see, my makeup look that I'm wearing now was created using this palette, but I had to learn how to use this palette, because as I said previously, the shadows, I just don't find that they are as pigmented as, say, like a Juvias Place eyeshadow palette. I don't think there's a lot of eyeshadow palettes that are as pigmented as a Juvias Place eyeshadow palette, to be fair, but that's the kind of pigment that I'm used to. Like, dab it on the brush, you put it on your eye, and exactly what you have on your brush is what translates onto the eye, and that's just not how it is with this. So when using it, at first look that I came up with was kind of like, oh, I'm not happy with this palette at all. But as I continued to use it and giving it a chance, I learned that, you know what, you have to build up the pigment using your brush by kind of like dabbing the pigment onto your eye and then blending it out and then going back over it again, and you just kind of have to build it up. So when you're doing that, you do end up getting the kind of pigmentation that you do want, but it's just a case of building and layering. So that's what it is. I do feel like this palette is a good representation of Coca-Cola. Like, of course, this red is the Coca-Cola red as per the logo. This shadow reminds me of the Cherry Coke packaging. This is like a muted version of this shade. I feel like this is supposed to be a representation of Coca-Cola, like Coca-Cola itself, but I think Coca-Cola is literally almost black, and I think that is what this palette is missing. If there was a black, it would be perfect. It would be so perfect. I feel personally that they could have taken out either this shade or this shade. These two shimmers, one of those two could have gone. This orange, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Whether or not it actually has anything to do with Coca-Cola though, I don't know, but just that shade on its own, I love it. Like, keep it in there. These two, like brow bone, all over the lid, or transition, whatever, those two make sense, but one of these two could have gone in place of a black, and black would work for Coca-Cola because they have Coke Zero. Coke Zero has like black packaging. I think that that's the only thing that it was missing. Aside from that, it's perfect. Aside from that, it's perfect. I absolutely love the size. It's so compact, it's so great for travel. It's not going to take up much space in your travel luggage. I probably would not use this for travel. Those of you who know me, I don't travel with anything that I'm not happy to lose, break, or not be able to replace. That's my rule. That is my rule. So if I'm not happy to lose it, break it, be unable to replace it, then you're staying at home. You're staying at home. Because like limited edition stuff and all that, you can't replace it. Like, no. But for those of you who would be happy to travel with this, it's an amazing size, and it's not going to take up much of your luggage space, which is going to leave you space for other things that you need. So just keep that in mind. So aside from that, like, do I like this palette? I really do like this palette. As I said, it's just a shame that it doesn't have a black, and it just takes me a little bit longer to get to the result that I want because I have to build up and build up. So using it during the week is probably not going to be time effective for me, but on the weekends I'll definitely be drawing for this again. So I do like this palette overall. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's really, really nice. And I think it's worth a look because, as I said, it's only 12 or 13 pounds. But if you felt like you weren't gonna get this palette, I don't feel like you'll be missing out on anything because you probably already have the majority of these shades scattered elsewhere in other palettes. It's not like if you don't have this then your whole world is just going to stop. It's not like that, but I think for the price point it's a nice palette to have. And I think, you know, my son, when he saw it, he was like, hold on, you got Coca-Cola eyeshadows, like that's really cool. So he liked the fact that the packaging was Coca-Cola as well. So yeah, kids like it too. So I hope that that was helpful if you were looking to possibly potentially buy the Coca-Cola palette. If the link is still live, I will post the link where I made my purchase down below. If it's not live, I will put the link for the face shop, simply because I don't want to give a link on eBay that I haven't personally used. So if there's an eBay link down there, it's because it's still live as of this recording, or as of this going up. If it's the face shop, it's because they've run out and they're not selling it anymore. So just keep that in mind. So I'd rather send you to the retailer's store rather than giving you a link that I cannot really vouch for. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.